Commissioner Tony Petitti is digging in his heels on his preferred college football playoff format, and we'll talk about that, plus what stood out with the 6 coaches that spoke at the Big Ten Media Days on Tuesday. 6 more going at it today. Locked on Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hit that free subscribe button. By the way, thank you very much. We got to 20,000 subscribers. Our goal is to do it before the football season. You helped us do it by Big Ten Media Days. That is awesome. Share, like, and follow, and spread the word that we're here each and every day talking Big Ten. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. So we're going to talk about Tony Petitti's State of the Union, his plans for the college football playoffs, and we have half a dozen football coaches that we want to comment on what they talked about at the Big Ten Media Days. A lot of interesting stuff there. CURT CIGNETTI going off in defense of his scheduling as well. Plus, we'll have our power rankings. All that coming up. But the Big Ten Media Days, now through Thursday in Las Vegas, kicking off on Tuesday. Commissioner Tony Petitti giving his State of the Union, came out there, talked about how proud he was of the conference that won 13 national titles in multiple sports last year, including Ohio State in football. Talked a little bit about the House settlement and revenue sharing and how the Big Ten, the entire Big Ten, is committed to this new model of financing. He also, again, waved the Big Ten flag a little bit, said there was a Big Ten team in 8 of the 11 college football playoff games last year. 7 of the 10 highest rated college football broadcasts last year were involving Big Ten teams. So obviously a shout out to all the TV network partners that the Big Ten has. A lot of success last year across the board. When it came to the college football playoff format, he says, look, it's been a process, conversation, lots of communication. He reiterated what we talk about on this program all the time, that, look, everybody agreed to the rules, and the rules are from this year moving on. The Big Ten and the SEC have the power to decide for everybody. Okay. But nobody's really in agreement with the right way to go about this. Tony Petitti and the Big Ten, they want 4 if they're going to expand to 16, we want 4 automatic qualifiers. No matter what, we're going to get 4 Big Ten teams every year. He is also big on the play-in games, taking the Big Ten championship weekend and making that a couple of play-in games, the 3 seed versus the 6 seed and the 4 seed versus the 5 seed, to earn a couple of those playoff spots. He is big on that. He's digging his heels on it. He likes that because the play-in games, because he wants teams to still be alive in mid-November. The top 10, 8, 9, 10 teams of the Big Ten still with a chance of getting into the playoffs. He wants these conference games to matter and wants them to mean more. But here's where he's really digging his heels in, and this is why he really wants the automatic qualifiers. By the way, the SEC was on board, but then after all their meetings, they decided they can't do it. So all the other 3 Power 4 conferences, they want the 5+11 model with 11 at-large bids. That's a lot of work for the committee. And Tony Petitti is digging his heels in. He does not want to give more power to that committee to have their formula and their biases and whatever and coming up with 11 teams. He wants an automatic plan. The Big Ten knows what they're playing for because they're the best and they deserve at least 4. And they don't want to see a year where, like last year, where the SEC only got 3 in. They don't want that to happen to the Big Ten. So that's why Tony Petitti, he's firm. He's digging in. He said, we will not agree to any playoff plan that gives more decision-making to a selection committee. Not going to do it. Interesting. So this looks like it sets up a battle between the Big Ten and everybody else. And who knows, maybe there'll be a logjam in the decision-making here, and we'll just stick with the format we currently have with 12 teams. I don't know. I don't know where this is going from here. One of the reporters asked Petitti, hey, of course, you got to get a decision made by December 1. And Petitti backed off on that. He goes, well, I don't want to put a deadline on anything. It's still a work in progress. And he continued from this point on with the Q&A with the media. A lot was talked about, hey, the Big Ten plays 9 conference games. The SEC, they play 8. And again, he wants these conference games to matter. And in order for the selection process, if that's what we have, a selection committee, to be legit, we have to compare apples to apples. And because we're talking about the at-large bids, no matter which format we have. And he says, by the way, if we have the automatic qualifiers, if you're going to guarantee me the Big Ten 4 teams in the playoffs every year, I don't care if the SEC plays 8 games or 9. I don't care. Because now we got the automatic bids. If we don't have automatic bids, then yeah, I want them playing the same amount of conference games as us. But a little deeper into his thought, we know that he has wanted the SEC to play 9 games like the Big Ten, but gave a little more thought process, or at least let us in on his thinking process with all of that. He did confirm he wrote a letter on behalf of Michigan regarding the Spygate hearing back in June. He says that's standard issue, standard procedure. He would not divulge what he had in the letter, didn't say what he said. And then, by the way, interesting fun fact. He said the reason that the Big Ten Media Days was in Las Vegas instead of Indianapolis, he said there was actually a logistics problem with holding it in Indianapolis this year, so they went to Vegas. Plus, they are having a couple basketball tournaments there in Vegas in the future. Brett Bielema came out after that. He was the first coach on deck. I believe he was last year as well. Talked a little bit about being, an Iowa alum, and talked about Hayden Fry and Kirk Ferentz and all that. He had a 10-win team this year. He is very excited about his team this year. 16 of his 22 starters are back. Recruiting has been good. He talked about how much college football has changed over the years, but he loves, being the CEO of the football program and running the team. And he was asked about some comments he's made in the past about SEC bias, and they think they're better and all that. He goes, look, sometimes you just got to speak your mind. That's what Brett Bielema does. Greg Schiano got out there for Rutgers, coming off back-to-back bowl appearances for the first time since 2011, 2014. He added 18 transfers to his team this year. Going to help out quarterback Ethan Kaliak-Manis, who's coming back for his second year at Rutgers. His third year as a starter. He was at Minnesota before that. And he reiterated, hey, I know people think that we're a good program and we're solid. We're not great. He goes, I didn't come here just to be good and win 6 games or whatever. I came here to win a title. So he says, look, it may sound funny to some that I'm here to win a title, but that's what I'm here to do at Rutgers. And he talked about this 2 years in a row now about transfer guys and recruiting guys and nil money to spend and all this stuff. He says, look, you got to fit the culture here. I don't care how good you are, what kind of money you're making. You got to fit the culture first and foremost. I remember he said the same thing last year as well. He's been at it for 37 years and 2 stops at Rutgers. He says he loves it. Indiana's CURT CIGNETTI coming off the 11-1 season, looking for an encore. The only team with 3 first-team all Big Ten members coming back. They got to replace Curtis Work, their quarterback, with Fernando Mendoza this year. Elijah Surratt's going to surprise some people. I think he may be every bit as good as Jeremiah Smith. Look, he's not looking to sustain what they did last year. He's looking to improve upon it. Really talked about the importance of carrying over his staff and having low turnover. And he says last year's success helps everybody. Instead of talking about what we're going to do, we can talk about what we did and how we can keep doing it. And a lot of money being raised in Indiana. And he was asked about his scheduling philosophy. We all know that Indiana has dropped Virginia and Louisville and other Power 4 non-conference games. He goes, look, compare the Big Ten and the SEC. The SEC has 12 of its 16 teams that play 3 G5 or FCS games this year and 1 less conference game. I'm focusing on an SEC model. Some people took that as a shot. I don't think it's just facts. It's just facts. And he would like the SEC and Big Ten to play each other in non-conference games. But he says we need to standardize the schedule and take power away from the committee. That's the theme from the Big Ten. Maryland's Mike Locksley out there. By the way, new OC hired Pep Hamilton. A lot of you are familiar with him. Got a new DC as well. They got a new AD over there. They're trying to elevate their name, image, and likeness or their revenue share. He admits they were down last year. Probably one of the most honest coaches talking to the media you'll find. Mike Locksley says, look, man, I lost the locker room last year. It turned into haves and have-nots, guys that were getting name, image, and likeness and guys that weren't. And he says, man, if I got to put my desk in the locker room this year, I will do it. We're moving forward. I'm very excited. And he did say, we don't know what we have. We won't know till we get practicing out there. But very brutally honest conversation from Mike Locksley. And he's asking for some help with the revenue share. He goes, look, man, just put me in the middle of the pack. All right. But don't ask me to win a Big Ten title and have me 17th or 18th in revenue share money and name, image, and likeness. Oh, that was a great point. Matt Rhule came out. Nebraska finally got to a bowl game. The Pinstripe Bowl last year, first one since 2015. Got Dana Holgorsen with a full year now this year as the OC. Coming off their 7 wins, 19 starters back. But, of course, Dylan Raiola coming back for his second year will be phenomenal. He talked about the pressures of him coming in as an 18-year-old freshman and what he did last year and big expectations this year. And he says the definition of success is when a program, it's no longer Matt Rhule's program, it's the players' program where they take ownership. I thought that was pretty good as well. Ohio State, Ryan Day was the last one out, the defending national champion. New coordinators, Brian Hartline, their wide receivers coach, is the new OC. Matt Patricia, the new defensive coordinator. The national championship was the cherry on top, but he's ready for Texas in 38 days. It's a new team. They want a new legacy. They're forgetting about last year. And he talked about what an honor it is to be involved with Ohio State. Talked about Jeremiah Smith. Got a lot of questions about him. He's bigger, stronger, faster, still not too vocal, but a leader out there. He's very comfortable with the defense. He's very comfortable with Matt Patricia. And he talked about the competitiveness of Jeremiah Smith, how he just hated, was so angry after the Oregon loss. And, of course, the loss to Michigan and whatnot. And he still insists that the quarterback battle between Julian Sayin and Lincoln Kienholz is even Steven as we sit here today. All right, that's a thumbnail of what happened all day long Tuesday with the Big Ten Media Days. Hit us up with the comments, but be sure and hit that subscribe button. It's free. Again, thank you for pushing us over 20,000 free subscribers out there. That was our goal to get there before the start of the season, and here we are. I guess the push to 25,000 is on now. Share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten. Don't forget our podcasts are all at talkbig10.com. where you get some school merchandise there as well. All right, still plenty to do. We'll take a quick peek at what's going on tomorrow. We got major injury updates with Michigan, recruiting wins and losses with Oregon and Wisconsin, the Hawkeyes adding to their O-line, all that coming up in a minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. Let me tell you about Game Time. This is where you get your tickets. Whether it be a football game, you want to go ahead and plan ahead early for some Big Ten football tickets, or you want to go to a summer concert like tonight, you can do it with Game Time. Get the Game Time app, and you don't have to spend time logging in other places or whatever. You just got it right there. The Game Time app, tickets, best deals, make your memories with your friends, be the big shot who gets the tickets for everybody. It's all at Game Time. Do you know that getting tickets for concerts is so easy breezy, and the prices actually drop as it gets closer to show time? You can save up to 60% with their last minute killer deals. And plus you get a view from the seat, from the ticket you're about to buy. And they got a great cancellation protection program. I mean, life happens sometimes. It's fantastic. Take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thanks for checking us out here on Locked On Big Ten and making us your first listen each and every day, especially you everydayers out there. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks again for the 20,000 subscribers so far. Share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And don't forget to check out our website, talkbig10.com. All right, more recruiting news in a moment. But first, some injury update news at Michigan on a handful of players. Sharon Moore may address this in more detail on Thursday, tomorrow, at Big Ten Media Days. But let's start with Rod Moore. We got Rod Moore, MIKEY, KEANE, and Davis Warren injury updates. Rod Moore tore his ACL in the spring of 2024 before spring ball. The last game he played was in the national championship. He's a great player. I mean, NFL bound. Lots of setbacks. Needed a second surgery. So I remember in the offseason, he released a video on Twitter of him running. It was just kind of a slow, straight run after over a year. Missed 2 springs in a row. So we're hoping for the best. He says today he's 80 to 85%. He says camp will decide when he starts playing again, whether it be the first game, second game, third game. So we hope the best for him. MIKEY KEANE, graduate transfer quarterback. He was brought in to not only back up Bryce Underwood, but maybe even take the pressure off and start a little bit. Get things started as a veteran before you throw the 18-year-old in there. MIKEY KEANE out of Fresno State, but he's got 34 career starts, a lot of experience, but he came in and then had an upper body injury before spring ball. Kind of mysterious about what it is exactly. He says he's progressing just fine, so I guess he's hoping to be ready for the start of the season. And then other quarterback, Davis Warren, started a lot last year with that quarterback roulette of 2024. He tore his ACL in that ReliaQuest Bowl game against Alabama. That's usually a minimum 9-month recovery. So the start of the season, making that looks like a long shot, but he says it's a positive trajectory going in the right direction. And while Michigan waits for KEANE and Warren, and they're all set with Bryce Underwood this year, the future is approaching every day, and the class of 2027. Recruiting going on there. 4-star Teddy Jarrard. He's pared his list of schools down to 5. Michigan is still in. Also, Ohio State and Penn State, Georgia and Notre Dame are in the mix too. And the Wolverines have offered a 2027 4-star offensive lineman Lucas Roa from California a scholarship as well. The Oregon Ducks, they've already landed their 5-star tight end recruit, Kendra Harrison. Several recruiting outlets have upgraded him as the best tight end in the country. Number 1 at his position for the class of 2026. That upgrade has Oregon knocking on a top 5 ranking for the entire recruiting class. They're right there. Right behind him, as far as ranking tight ends, this is going to be like the tight end conference. Right behind him, as you know, USC 5-star recruit Mark Bowman going to the Trojans. And the next rated kid after him, behind Harrison and Bowman, Michigan's Matt Ludwig, who we announced a couple weeks ago, is coming to the Wolverines. So we got a nice handful of 5-star tight ends coming into the league for 2026. As far as Harrison is concerned, he said during the process, he was always like 80% committed to landing at the Oregon Ducks. Then he attended the Ohio State game early last year. Ducks won that one 32-31. He said after that he was sold. He was playing at Autzen Stadium. See, these visits with these kids to these games, these big games, they matter. They matter. Big loss for the Badgers, again in their secondary. Wisconsin lost 2026 3-star safety recruit Zachary Taylor. He flipped to TCU. Now, he's from Katy, Texas, so looks like he wanted to stay at home. But he was the lone safety recruit for this class, so now they don't have one. And to make matters worse, the Badgers only have 1 corner in this recruiting class. That's 3-star Carson Elam's. That's it. Not great. Not great. So anyway, by the way, that 3-star Carson Elam's, he's a 3-star trending to a 4-star. Got great speed, 4.3940. Pretty good. And the Iowa Hawkeyes are adding to their immediate class of 2025 roster. Offensive lineman Will Hahn, he's a local in-state kid. And he's coming, 6'2", 270 pound, and he accepted a preferred walk-on deal with Kirk Ferentz. And he's a first-team All-Stater, so they're adding to the O-line there. All right, we started off the podcast talking about Big Ten Media Days on Tuesday. They're still underway again today on a Wednesday. The Wednesday schedule, PJ Fleck is first at 2:30 Eastern, followed by David Braun at Northwestern at 2:45. Luke Fickell at 3 o'clock Eastern. He'll be followed by Dan Lanning, 3:15 Eastern, 12:15 on the West Coast. Jed Fish, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 West Coast. For you Washington Husky fans, big expectations for him this year. James Franklin will close it down today at 3:45 Eastern, talking some Penn State football and all the pressure of the expectations that he has, and maybe even win a national championship, make it 3 straight for the Big Ten. So anyway, that's going on, and we'll talk more tomorrow about Thursday's schedule as well. You know, if you're new to our podcast, we always do a special feature at the end, a benchmark feature, if you will. Mondays, we do our top 10 Big Ten observations. Tuesdays, we do Tuesday tweets. Wednesdays, we like to power rank stuff. Since we're talking about Big Ten stuff, I thought, and the coaches are all here at Media Day, why not? 1 through 18, let's rank the Big Ten coaches. That's coming up next in 1 minute, 1 through 18, right here on Locked On Big Ten. All right, it's time for our power rankings. Tomorrow we'll have a look at the weekend Big Ten Classics coming up on the Big Ten Network, and we'll talk a lot more about Big Ten Media Days as they continue as well. But we're going to rank all 18 Big Ten coaches. Now, there may be some disagreement among you all with this list, and keep in mind, I love all the Big Ten coaches, and when you start filling out spots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, somebody's got to be 6, 7, 8, 9, and somebody's got to fill out the spots. Just because they're later on this list doesn't mean we're disrespecting them at all. Okay, I'm going to put it on screen, and we'll handle the first 10. We'll go full screen here, ranking our power rankings, midweek power rankings in the Big Ten. Look, I mean, Ryan Day's a national champion. Got to be number 1 at Ohio State. And as he said on Tuesday, they're pretty much already putting that behind him. And this 2025 team wants to make their own legacy. Although, did you notice at Big Ten Media Days, the Ohio State National Championship trophy was right next to him on the podium. In fact, they left it up there all day in front of all the coaches. Just some Big Ten pride there. Ryan Day, number 1, Ohio State. We're going to put Dan Lanning at number 2 with Oregon, because, well, they went undefeated in their first year in the Big Ten last year, and he did win the Big Ten. Ohio State was our 4th place team. Talk about how strong the Big Ten is. Ohio State was actually 4th place. Got into the playoffs, won the Natty. But Dan Lanning and the Ducks, 1st place, Big Ten champions. 3rd, I'm going to move this up. Kirk Ferentz, why not? Iowa Hawkeyes, the dean of all college football coach. You got to be good to last 26 years anywhere. And he was an assistant there before that. Been there a long time. Coach Brett Bielema once upon a time. So, yeah, we'll put the dean 1 win away from Woody Hayes' all-time wins mark in the Big Ten. We'll put James Franklin at Penn State at number 4. And look, whether he's got a reputation of not winning the big games or going 10-2 every year and losing to Michigan and Ohio State every year or whatever you want to do, dude wins a lot of football games. I mentioned this earlier this week. If if James Franklin were to ever lose his job at Penn State, he would have 50 schools calling him within that day. He's a good coach. He's a good recruiter. When he puts people in the NFL. When they go to the NFL, they replace them with other guys that are going to the NFL. Now he's just got to get over the hump to be considered elite. This is his best chance this year in 2025. We're going to put him at number 4. Number 5, we're going to put USC's Lincoln Riley. Now, you may be going, hey, Lincoln Riley has kind of underachieved the last year or so. What's going on? Well, as a coach, I don't think you could ignore his time at Oklahoma either, where he won a lot of games. He's had a lot of Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks at Oklahoma and then again at USC. You're not a bad coach if you do that. And we talk about hot seat and pressure for him and all that stuff a lot here, but look, you can't ignore what he's done in the past. And he's good. He's a good coach. We're going to put him in our top 5. Right after that, we're going to put CURT CIGNETTI at Indiana at number 6. Indiana had lost in like 121 years, I think it is. 121 or 126. Lost more games than any Division I team in college football. Over 700 losses. He rolls in year one and goes 11-1 and gets to the college football playoffs. And it wasn't a fluke because he mentioned this in his media session, how he and his staff came into Indiana and they started out 10-0. The year before, that same staff went 10-0 at James Madison to start their season. They're the only staff. He's the only head coach to go start out 10-0 at two different schools back-to-back years. Pretty impressive. He's at number 6. At number 7, right there behind him, Illinois, Brett Bielema. Been a head coach at Wisconsin. Been a head coach, now a head coach at Illinois. Was at Arkansas. He's coached in the SEC and the Big Ten. He was a Big Ten player. He's a good coach. Won 10 games last year. Brett Bielema at number 7. I got at number 8, Washington, Jedd Fisch. I have repeatedly said on this podcast how impressed I am with him for what he did last year. 20 of his 22 starters were gone from the national championship runner-up team. He came in there, won 6 games. I look for them to take a big step forward this year. I think he's a good coach. Michigan, Sherrone Moore at number 9. Look, if he has a big year this year, I'll gladly move him up. He's only got 1 year as a head coach under his belt. I will give him credit also. Every time he stepped in for a suspended Jim Harbaugh, he won. And he's doing a great job recruiting. 9 might be a little low for Sherrone Moore. At number 10, I got Matt Rhule. Matt Rhule, year 3, everywhere he's been, right? Baylor, Temple. He turned around in year 3. Not so much with the Carolina Panthers, but good enough to get a NFL head coaching gig. Year 3 at Nebraska, going to be a big one. Year 2 for Dylan Raiola. Looking forward to that. So that's their top 10, our power rankings of Big Ten coaches. Here's the best of the rest. This doesn't mean they're bad just because they're later. All right, here we go. Wisconsin's Luke Fickell. Got him at number 11. Very impressed with what he did back in the day at Cincinnati. Slow, sluggish start at Wisconsin. Got to get things going. Although with that schedule, going to be brutal. Minnesota's P.J. Fleck. Coming in at number 12. I could put him higher. I like P.J. Fleck. Throw up an 8-win season frequently. They just got a contract extension till the year 2030. Rutgers, Greg Schiano. I could put him higher. Again, we got to fill out the spaces with names. Greg Schiano, I think, is a great football coach. As he said, he's there to win a championship, not just be good or middle of the pack. 14, Michigan State, Jonathan Smith, year 2. How's that going to go? I think he's got the nose to the grindstone. I think he's fixing things at Michigan State. I think next year's their breakout year, their show and tell year, if you will. Northwestern's David Braun at number 15, although let's remember, he was the Big Ten Coach of the Year 2 seasons ago. I got Mike Locksley at 16 at Maryland. They really struggled last year. Good recruiting class. I could put him higher. Like I said, very honest when talking to the media. I like Mike Locksley. Deshaun Foster at 17 at UCLA, going into year number 2. Don't forget, he's got Nico Iamaleava at quarterback this year, and Purdue's Barry Odom, who hasn't coached a single game at the Big Ten, coming over. This is his first year. We'll round out our power rankings. So there you have it. What do you think? Am I way out of order on this? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Hit us up in the comments section as well. More from Big Ten Media Days on tomorrow's podcast, plus a look at Big Ten Classics. And if you wouldn't mind, hit that subscribe button like 20,000 other people have already done. That way you'll never miss an episode of Locked On Big Ten. Go back and check out a second episode after this for a second listen. Catch up on yesterday's. Also invite you to check out our friend Brian Smith from The Portal Show, part of the Locked On family, wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as well. That'll do it for us. Thanks for checking us out. As always, tell your friends about us. We're here every day. Word of mouth, news, analysis, opinion. All 18 teams. Big Ten right here. For Locked On Big Ten, I'm Craig Sheeman. Thanks for spending some time with us. Talk to you tomorrow.